Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Fireside Chat with the authors of Inspired Creators. My name is Krystal Hille. I'm the founder of Hill House Publishing, and this is our 5th collaborative book. So I'm super excited to have with me today the beautiful Tamala Ridge. And I'm just quickly going to introduce you to her. She is the founder and director of the Institute for Spiritual Companioning. She's an international best-selling author, addiction specialist, and spiritual mentor. And we have known each other for quite some time, haven't we?
We have. We go way back.
Yeah, in fact, I think we go back to a collaborative book ourselves, where we both found ourselves as co-authors in it.
That's right. That's where we first met,
Yes.
which is kind of where we probably both got on the trail of loving the multi-author book journey. So yes, it's been an awesome ride with you.
Exactly. So many collaborations come out of these book collaborations.
Yes, and friendships.
Yes, friendships as well. Exactly. So I would love to hear from you just a little bit more. Let's imagine we're sitting around the campfire. Might even have some beautiful, what are they called? Sticks in the fire with some marshmallows that our kids would love.
Yeah, had some of them on the weekend actually with a big bonfire.
Amazing. So it takes you right back there, and just share with us, what is your mission in the world? What lights your fire? What are you passionate about? And what are you here to do?
Oh my God, such a good question. We could do a whole chapter on that. What lights my fire is reframing how we hold space for people, and also reframing the idea of addiction. And the greater mission of that, if we know how to hold space in an integrous and spiritually empowering way, and we understand the nature of addiction and we can recover from that, then the greatest mission actually is to experience heaven on earth. Because we all, heaven and hell aren't places that we go when we die. Everything is in the now, everything in this present moment. And our trauma, our wounding, our stories, our programming, our conditioning all put veils up, and we actually become addicted to them through our stress response, through our thought processes, through the hypervigilance in our body. Addiction is not just about drugs and alcohol. It's very much about being addicted to our internal hormones and our thought processes through the driving programming of our trauma. And when we can understand that this is actually an addiction, and we absolutely have the ability to recover and to remove the veils, then we can move more into manifesting and creating and bringing forth the vision and the experience of heaven on earth. So that's my mission, right?
I love that. You have such a beautiful and unique take on this. Everything is an addiction that isn't in alignment with who we are. And yeah, I'd love you to maybe go a little bit deeper into this, physically, what happens in our body, and why are we actually addicted to our negative, or so-called negative states, and our traumatic stress responses?
Yeah, I love that question, because I love explaining this, because when people really get this, they're like, oh my gosh, like, yes, I didn't really think about it this way. So very briefly, I have entire webinars on this and explanation on this, but our cells have receptor sites on them to receive different hormones. And so we have receptor sites for adrenaline and cortisol. We have receptor sites for our beautiful happy hormones like oxytocin. And what's happened is our society, our culture, our trauma, our programming everything is designed to keep us hypervigilant, to keep us producing stress. The to-do lists, the mortgages, the children, the fact that we live insular lives and we're not in a tribe anymore with collaborative help, like everything is stressful. And so every single tiny thought that we have about the fear of the future or the regret of the past produces tiny amounts of stress hormones throughout our bodies. And what happens is, in our cells, these receptor sites for adrenaline and cortisol, we start to grow more of them. And the receptor sites for our happy hormones, the oxytocin, the connection, the love drug, the drug and the hormones we would be producing when we're experiencing heaven, they start to die off. And so we're physiologically changing the makeup of our cells, of our body, and the cells then begin to crave. Like we can be having a beautiful, wonderful day and experiencing an amazing connection with someone, oxytocin's flooding our body, and then the cell goes, I'm full of that now, but what I'm actually really hungry for is stress and adrenaline and cortisol. So send a message to the brain to start picking a fight, seeing a drama, feeling the victimhood, reaching for an addictive substance that we know we're going to feel crap about afterwards, and bang, we've flooded ourselves again with stress, with a drama, with a victimhood, with a perception of the world that everything is negative and it's everybody else's fault. And the cells become hit, like it's a drug, like just like heroin, just like nicotine. The cells are like, oh, here's my rush, here's my fuel source. Yeah. And so this is the nature of how we keep creating the dysfunctional relationships, the lack, the non-thriving businesses, the breakdowns in finances, love, relationships, careers, because the body is addicted to stress. Yeah. So what's the answer? The answer very much then is, and we'll probably talk more about it, but it's about the conscious awareness of this process, the finding the space between our thoughts, using the tools to distance ourselves and recover from the fearful thinking, which is the big part of it, becoming present in the moment, using mindfulness, using energetic tools such as tapping to relieve the stress from our body, doing more oxytocin producing activities, connection to self, connection to others, connection to earth, connection to spirit, opening up and thinning the veils, detoxification, removing physical toxins, mental toxins from our body. There is definitely a pathway to recover from addiction, but it takes conscious awareness. And it also takes a great deal of ownership of who we are and what we've become. And we have to own it. We have to feel it to heal it. We have to own it to move through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really a lot.
I love that. I love that explanation of why sometimes we can't, when we feel good, there's, the upper ceiling, somebody calls it the upper ceiling as well. We hit that place where beyond that is everything that we desire, but we don't feel like it's not familiar. So we go back, and you explaining it in terms of addiction just makes so much sense.
Yes, it is the familiar. It is and underneath that, the very, very deepest part is the addiction to our belief in separation, our addiction to our belief that we're separate from God, from nature, from each other, and the unworthiness for us to connect, and the unworthiness of us to create our own heaven on earth. Like, we judge ourselves as worthy. God doesn't do that. We do. We place ourselves in heaven or hell through our own choices, our own worthiness, our unworthiness to heal and to believe that we're worthy of love. We have the choice. You all have the absolute 100% choice as to where you want to reside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if we take that into that choice that we have, that power that we have to choose, and moving that into the connection to our book title, and embracing the magic of our soul mission. You shared about why you're passionate about what you're passionate about. And I love the title of your chapter as well, Dancing with the Edge of Reality. And again, this is like, what is reality? How do we choose reality? So you can pick that up anywhere you like, but maybe just moving into that question, what does that mean, dancing with the edge of reality?
Good question. So I won't give it away, but the beginning of my book talks about an experience where I was very much dancing on the edge of reality as a child, and it terrified me. It was absolutely terrifying because there was no one there to explain to me what was happening. There was no reassurance, and there was no one to really hold my hand to experience, or no one that had the capacity to hold my hand, to experience and to lean into what was happening. It was all about, calm down and deny and distract, and let's look over here and do something else. And, all credit to my parents. They didn't know what to do, and we weren't taught how to hold space for people to experience our foot in both worlds. And so the chapter then goes into how I then realized and learned how to actually take myself into different spaces, into different realities, into different energies. And for me, it's all about removing the veils of toxicity, like I mentioned before. So detoxing is very much part of what I offer and what I do. But it is the ability to hold space for someone and allow them to lean into their divine wisdom. So Inspired Creations, oh my God, the best title of the book. And it's why I said, yes, I want to be in that, because inspiration, firstly, the idea of inspire is to breathe in, and to breathe in the breath of God, to breathe in the wisdom of the universe, to breathe in that which is beyond us, beyond our intellectual knowing. It's inspired creations mean that it is not of us. They come through us, because we are willing and open to dance between the worlds, to access that knowledge, to tap into the medicine for that we are here as conduits and vessels, really, to bring to this earth. And it's beyond our physical human capacity to do that. So it is about the tools that we can absolutely access and practice to move between the worlds. So dancing on the edge of reality, that's my favorite place to hang out, is on the edge. I remember, I think I put it in the chapter, but I heard a title in a song once saying, if you're not standing on the edge, you're taking up too much space. And I was like, oh my God, I love that. I love that. So how can we move more closely to the edge? And again, coming back to that idea of holding space, for someone to hold, I think I've read that in my chapter, for someone to hold space, it's about supporting them to lean into the edge. And the edge is not all unicorns and rainbows. The edge is edgy. It's uncomfortable. It's where the fear resides. It's where the trauma resides. It's where the programming and the uncomfortable and the shadow and the darkness resides, is on the edge. And if we can hold someone on that edge, in that discomfort, very, very gracefully, through loving eyes, they can lean into the wisdom. They can lean in and discover the answers to their own problems, to connect in with their own divine wisdom, to find their connection to whatever it is they believe in, their spiritual companion, and come back into the world and create. Yeah. So this is kind of how it all relates together.
You know what I find so fascinating, always having, heard so many stories from so many contributors, is that whatever happens in the childhood that we perceived as an absence, and Dr. John DeMartini talks about that, our voids become our values. Like, you didn't have anybody to hold space for you in the way that you needed in order to process what was going on. So it created a separation, it created disconnect and addictions in some respect. And so now you call yourself, I don't know, what is the word? You're calling yourself a space holder, right? You're really teaching coaches and healers how to beautifully hold space for others. And I've experienced how you do that, when we've been working together. It was so beautiful. Like, you wouldn't rescue me one bit. Like, you would just hold the space. It's like and in doing so, it's just so empowering for your clients. And anybody who's listening, being a coach, it's so empowering when we just hold a space in the pause and not rescue, but actually say, you've got this. You can access your own unique wisdom. You can access that edge that you were talking about and connect to that wisdom that is beyond the known, is beyond the physical. So I find that fascinating, that journey. And maybe we'll go into you reading a little bit of your chapter now, which also goes a little bit deeper into that.
I love that, the way that you explained that. And I thank you for those beautiful words. It's nice to hear back that people understand the difference, because I think that people come into a session looking for the answers. Yeah, they want to be fixed and rescued, and please tell me what to do. And that is, it triggers the ego, and we might go, oh, of course I know what you should do, and of course I've got the answer, and definitely you need to do this. But that leads me into this chapter. I've come to realize a deeper truth over the years as I moved into my professional role as a spiritual space holder. that it takes a greater love, a more conscious love, to be able to sit with someone and gently hold, witness, and support them to meet their pain, to guide them right through the middle of it in order to experience the healing gold that's on the other side. The goal is not to alleviate the pain. It is to meet, listen, acknowledge, and lean into the wisdom that's always present. And so the greater love there, because we love our loved ones, we love our clients, and it's difficult to see anyone in pain. And so most of us empaths, empathic women, have come from a space of fixing, rescuing. I know that I did. I grew up in an environment of domestic violence, and I became the fixer and the healer, and it became my purpose in life. However, it's also an addiction. It's also a dysfunctional addiction to rescue, to fix, to deny, to take away pain, because we haven't actually learned how to do it for ourselves. So it takes a greater capacity to sit with someone in pain and hold that without trying to take it away, and 100% hold the belief that you're not going anywhere until they find their own wisdom, until they find their own center, until they find their own answer, until they find their own connection to their inspiration, to their inspired creations, and then come back on the other side. And if only we could do this with our children, if only we could do this with our relationships, if only we could do this for ourselves. It is the next level in healing potential for the world, I believe. Being able to, yeah.
And we're really in a time right now where becoming, just sitting with it and being with what is luckily, thankfully, is becoming more acknowledged, that is the way through, that it's not about positively thinking everything away and saying, oh, just take a breath and you'll be all right. But no, okay, you're feeling something, let's dive into this, let's hold it. And when we're in a situation where another person can just hold us in whatever we're going through, we learn to do that for ourselves. And that's really, I believe, the biggest one of the biggest tasks, or one of the biggest things that we need to learn right now, if we want to continue to evolve, because there's so much trauma currently that's needing to be released collectively, individually, because we are going through this transition. And so knowing then what our sole purpose is, to bring it back to the title of the book, what is, and that we can create this. In my journey, that's really that's kept me sane, to kind of know where I'm going, but at the same time and why I'm here, right? What is my purpose? Why am I here? What am I here to contribute whilst I'm going through whatever I'm going through? And it brings a greater depth, it brings a greater humility, but also greater compassion for ourselves and others.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And I love that that's your mission too, Krystal, and knowing you for such a long time and the beautiful books that you have created and invited people into. I really deeply honor you for that. And it's so powerful because, like you say, we're expecting our life to be sunshine and rainbows, and we're all going to have successful, loving, perfect relationships, and that's actually what heaven is. And I'm striving for this happiness, and I'm avoiding pain and fear. And really, for me, the idea of experiencing heaven on earth is connecting into the observer of, to that which is, there is a separation between I am in my victimhood and it's everyone else's fault, to I'm noticing my sadness, I'm noticing my anger, I'm noticing my pain, I'm noticing my discomfort, and I can hold compassion for myself. I can hold myself in loving reverence. I can hold myself whilst I allow this energy to move and transmute through me, because I'm observing it and I'm observing all that is. And when I can move into that space, then I'm actually experiencing heaven on earth. And it doesn't mean that everything's sunshine and rainbows. It just means I am not my victimhood. I am not this fearful emotion. I am the observer of. And I hold space for myself, and I hold space and have compassion and I don't believe we are just feeling these emotions individually. I believe we're conduits for our ancestors, for all the unhealed trauma of our lineage, our ancestors, our parents, and for our children to come. If we can allow this resonance and these uncomfortable emotions to move through us, it ain't just for us, it's for everyone around us, those before us and those that are still to come. And so opening ourselves up to be the conduit is the most healing thing we can do for the entire planet, is to sit with our own uncomfortable emotions.
Yeah. Really well said. Yeah, exactly that.
Yes,
yes, exactly that. So
we got sisters and brothers, we got some work to do. We got some sitting to do.
Yeah, just some sitting to do, and no judgment, right? Because when we're the observer, we can't judge. When we know that it's not us that is the emotion. We are not the victim. It's just something that's moving through us, and we can allow it to move through us, knowing that we are something way greater than that, and tapping into that. And sometimes even going in front of the mirror and looking into our eyes, and actually, I can see my soul right now. I love you. Yes, I'm feeling all this stuff, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And that's presence, right? That's our capacity to just be so present. And the gift that then brings to the world and to those around us is phenomenal. Yeah.
And then we stop craving wanting to stuff it down with addictions and food and Netflix and procrastination and sex and whatever we're using in an unhealthy manner to avoid what's happening. That's when we're on the road to recovering from addiction also. And you know what? This really weird thing happens that we begin to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. We begin to stop striving. We begin to stop expecting. We begin to stop having a belief around how things should be. And we get really reverently comfortable with what is, and really honoring what is, whatever's on that spectrum without the judgment. And that's kind of a high. That's kind of a, oh, how interesting. Check how I'm responding to this. Oh, how interesting. Check me out on the floor in a bubbling mess because of this thing at the moment. Like, oh, it's like we begin to watch this like really awesome movie and we're eating the popcorn going, this is really cool. And it can become comfortable or known, maybe more so, because we're trying to distract ourselves and it's unknown. And I'm so scared and the biggest fear for people is if I really go there, I'm going to end up on the floor in a dribbling mess in a mental asylum and I'm never going to get back up. And for coaches also, the biggest fear is, what if I hold my client in this space and they end up on the floor and they've lost their mind? And you know what? It ain't going to happen. When we're held correctly, when we're allowing ourselves to feel and move the emotions, the reason that we go mad is because things get stuck and we get stuck in an emotion, and we lose our faith and our connection to all that is. So yeah, I'm not sure the rant that I was actually going on there, but it's about the knowing and the getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yes.
And that's exciting. That's really exciting.
Beautiful. Every time we write a book or contribute a chapter to a book, there is that time of, there's an empty page. This is uncomfortable. I was pausing to find the link. So tell me about your experience of writing this chapter and perhaps what was uncomfortable and how you moved through that, so that those who are listening, who may be thinking about joining a book as well, will get some inspiration from somebody like you who's done this for, is it the third time?
Yeah, I think I'm addicted to multi-author books. It's for me, and I can't speak for all the authors, but for me, it is really uncomfortable because in order to write a chapter, I want to be the most authentic and the most vulnerable and the most true that I possibly can in order to connect with my audience or the audience that's reading the book. And so to write a chapter in a book does take you to the edge, because we could sit there and write something really safe, and we could sit there and write our little dot points, and we could sit there and write but no one's interested in that, because we can find that wherever we go. People want to voyeur into your life. People want to see and connect to you. So It's really edgy to write it. It's really cathartic to write it. Every single chapter I've written, I've cried. I've gone back to a story that's been deeply emotional for me, and it's also cathartic in the way that I've also seen a new medicine in it. I've seen a new gift in my story through this. It's a journaling process as well for ourselves. And so if people are scared or worried or think I can't do it, it's actually for you. At the very end of the day, this is for you. This is a healing opportunity for you as the author, and everything else is a bonus. Every other person that you reach is a bonus from that. So I would definitely be inviting people to step up to this process as a healing opportunity, as a growth opportunity, as a conscious awareness opportunity for you to get to know yourself on an even deeper level, and also to tap into your inspired creations and literally have a blank page. Like, let go of the agendas of trying to, sound professional and reach an audience. And I think my first chapter, I was like, how do I connect with my audience and get them to, come in and buy my programs? And it's like, that's all gone out the window now. I just write, and I ask, and I connect to God, and I say, what is it that you would like to come through me, as a healing opportunity for me, and also as medicine for the audience. So yeah, get on it, peeps.
It's beautiful. Exactly. And it happens all the time. This transformation, this catharsis, and the really diving deep, because when people connect with your story, they will see you, and therefore they will want to come into your world because they now know and trust you, and they can connect to what you've gone through, even if it's not the same journey, but it's the same theme. We've all gone to the edge. We've all been there. We've all felt like we're the outsider. We've all felt misunderstood. And so when we hear your story around that, we can relate it to something that happened within us. And it helps us to see our own story through a different lens, through your perspective. And then perhaps, what you've gone through may then just help us on our journey. And that's really what I love about the medicine and the activations and the transformation that is possible through these books, when we really write and share about themes that really matter, like, that help us to empower and awaken.
And we realize we're not.
Let me just put up your website. If people want to get in touch with you directly, this is your website. So you've got amazing masterclasses and offers going on all the time. Maybe share with us, what is your free gift that you are offering as part of the giveaway, as part of the launch of this book to one person?
And it is the addiction workbook that is the freebie, and it's talking about what I mentioned before on probably a more eloquent scale and in a more efficient way of describing that come down, the addiction to the stress hormones. And it also talks about detoxing, and it talks about how you can actually remove the veil of toxicity in your mind and in your body, and the understanding of addiction. Like, I highly recommend downloading it, because it will shift your perception so deeply and will give you some tools and strategies to start to recover from all of your addiction. So highly, highly recommend checking that out.
And that will be in our book, which you can get on this link here on the page right now, krystalhille.org/buy book inspired creators. And again, we're launching on the 11th. And also go to this page now, because you can sign up to our waiting list, and you will get emails where you get to know all the authors a little bit better, their quotes, their special offers that they're giving away on launch day. And we've got a Facebook group where we'll go live, and where we do these giveaways, and you can find out how you can win them. So we're going to have a beautiful, exciting couple of days around launch day. So definitely go onto that page, sign up, and we can't wait to share the incredible wisdom. I can't wait to share the incredible wisdom everyone has put into this book, and the depth to which they have dug into their own journey and shared their own lessons, and they're giving their own transmissions to the readers. So it's a very powerful book for anybody who's looking to look at their soul mission and how to be more empowered as creator beings of our world. And I love what I love about these multi-author books is because you get 25, or in this case 18 different perspectives on the same theme. So each story that you read, each chapter that you read, is like kind of deepening the embodiment of that within your own life. So yeah, you can tell I'm very passionate about this, and just look forward to sharing this with everyone here. Any final words, Tamala?
Just grab the book, buy the book, dive in, find your edge, be willing to move to the edge, be willing to look for something challenging every single day that takes you to your edge. Because if we're not standing on the edge, we are literally not living. We're not opening ourselves up to inspired creations that can always come through. Always, always, always. So dance with that, baby.
Absolutely. Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much for being here, Tam. And thank you for listening, everybody. We'll see you again in another Fireside conversation. Bye for now.